Like one thing I've learned as a videographer and photographer is when you're working with clients, sometimes they'll give you a thing where they're like, I wanted to do this and that, and it's like you in your head as a creative, you're overthinking it. You're like, well, then I got to do this, I got to do that. You're putting 1,000 steps ahead of you when maybe all they're really asking you is to move it a little bit to the left. That's it. That's it. But you're overthinking like, well, no, I got to rebalance this whole thing. Like, so we as artists always tend to overthink things. When sometimes that client thinks very, very simply.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough where my dad owned a small business, so I learned almost the business side of things, how to run and operate a business. What does it take to be like a small business owner first, and then got interested in the creatives while I was going to school, and so I was almost like a business minded first. It helped transition me a little bit better, I think, in understanding like the end goal. Like the end goal is to, whether it's a brand or a logo, whatever it is to create a really good finished product and make a successful launch. And it's so it always roots back to like, okay, is this going to be profitable? Is this going to bring in revenue? Is this whatever? I'm really good at thinking it from that perspective, and I think that's a little bit more unique because a lot of creatives become really talented in their creativity and design and doing that stuff, and then they get into business later in life, and
then that wall's just shut.
And like Keem said at the beginning, a lot of people don't have that business side, and it does. A lot of good talent is just chilling out there, probably at home, working a regular job, so anybody who's listening, like, learn the business side. Like, you don't have to become a fucking scientist on it and like go deep into it, but just learn the basics because it'll push you forward.
Learn how to send an invoice, damn it. Just kidding.
People don't though. People don't know how.
No, man. There's a lot of creatives who don't understand.
Some people don't even know how to pay taxes.
Taxes, they don't understand.
I can't lie. I learned a lot of that in the past like 5 years. Like,
remember when we were first figuring out like what's an LLC, what's a EIN, like what the hell?
I just finally in the past 2 years learned how to like, oh, I have a business, I can write stuff off. Oh, this is how you can like save yourself from 1099s fucking you with those big taxes, because you have to pay your taxes. And it's like, oh shit, like you can do your miles, but nobody tells you this. No, schools don't tell you this unless you have a family member or somebody in society who hopefully tells you that. That's you're good, because like that's the one thing I always tell them. That's why I hate on Facebook how people rant and shit. I just wish somebody would have been like, have you heard of a Roth IRA or a CD ladder? Because I would have loved to know that, and I know homies who have it. They're like, oh yeah, I've already been doing that. I'm like, damn, I wish
100%.
you could let me know.
Knowledge is power, man. I never understood that growing up as a kid when people said knowledge is power. Like, oh, so I just got to read books. And like, I didn't understand what people meant by read books, because like they would always say like, oh, if you read a lot, you'll be, you'll be more successful. I'm like, well, if I read Harry Potter
that's what I thought.
It's not going to do you any good, right? But you have to. What they meant is not when they say knowledge is power is when you learn things that are not taught to you in school, like doing your taxes, finding loopholes for starting your business, or like like how you were saying how you could do things that bring you back money at the end of the day. Those things help you, and a lot of people that are creatives, they don't learn those things because it's not taught in school. And the roadblocks, right? They stop them from doing it.
And I think for me, I always had a strategy in school, and I didn't know if it was the right strategy, but I always knew I knew the information, right? And I wasn't die hard. I wasn't going 110% on school all the time, but I was going 110% on things that I loved, like things that I was passionate about.
Right.
And so I would go to school. I mean, once we started going into topics that I wasn't that interested, I would tune out and start focusing on things that I love. And it almost held me back to a certain point. Went to college, learned how to hone that in, and now it's turned out really successful for me because I spent so much of my free time focusing on things that I really actually enjoyed and loved, and that's what I'm doing now, right? And so I think what's hard for people is when they spend so much of their time just going to school, and it's not things that they really love doing. And so when they're done, it's like, okay, now what do I really enjoy doing?
Yeah.
And then they haven't been doing that at all. They haven't spent the hours it takes to make that your craft. And so I think for anyone listening, I just feel like it's hugely important for you to just try things, figure out what you like,
find what you love, and
just focus on that.
Yeah. Something that we always talk about is, You know, if you had $1 billion in the bank right now, all jokes aside, like if you had $1 billion and you no longer needed to worry about money, what would you be doing right now?
Yeah.
You know, or what would you do that you wouldn't be like, oh, well, if money was right, you know, what would you
to have fun?
Yeah, what would you have fun
not
doing?
Traveling, not
yeah.
Maybe though. I can't say that because maybe somebody loves traveling.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
Or maybe you just like to talk about Star Wars,
or
like,
be a teacher.
Maybe that's your thing. You know, find out how you can make money because you can make money in any way.
Especially now.
You know, I mean, we're looking at YouTubers who create little review channels, right? Where a movie comes out and then they give their thoughts on it, and they've got 5 million subscribers, and that's how they generate their money.
Yeah. Or they buy random products on Amazon and just
try them.
Just try them.
Right.
Like, this is stupid because of this reason, and they, you know, like. I mean, you're exactly right. I feel like anything can become profitable. I think there are some dumb paths that people can take though, but I think it's also.
Hey man, I won't even say that because think about it, there was a pet rock in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
It's the stupidest idea, but it made so much money.
Yeah.
You know, so there's always a way to make money for sure.